The Boston Celtics are currently 6-1 by the time I'm making this video, despite the loss in a game winner against the Pacers. The Celtics have been drawing more comparisons to the Golden State Warriors, specifically the height of their dynasty in the late 2010s. This team, within 2 years between 2015 to 2018, they have won 3 of the last 4 championships, and then after the blunder in 2016, they added in his prime, Kevin Durant, and eventually became the greatest team of all time the year after. So there are many discussions regarding how great the Celtics are, and even at times OP, especially with the likes of a Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup. So in this video, I'm going to discuss are the current Boston Celtics comparable to the 2010s Warriors. That we finna find out. But first, A-Man, say man, this is the A-Man Show, back at it again for more content. Make sure y'all subscribe. I post NBA content, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss anything new from me. Anyways, stay tuned and enjoy the vid. The Boston Celtics in last year's offseason made a game-breaking 3-team trade that will send Kristaps Porzingis to the Boston Celtics in their first-round pick. But in the midst of it, they had to give up Marcus Smart, who was the heart and soul of the team. While this was a heartbreaking move, but they did get a Porzingis, who in his last season with the Wizards was averaging 23 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists on 50, 39, 85 splits. And along with Jrue Holiday from the Blazers trade, the Celtics were essentially, as you can say, a super team. And in the regular season last year, they were just that. They won 64 games. They had the best offense and the second best defense in the NBA, went 20-4 in postseason play, and ultimately winning a championship, cementing themselves as one of the greatest teams in NBA history. And this season now, they had a dominant 4-0 start, including a dominant first game of the season where they blew out the Knicks in their first game with a record-tying 29 threes in a game. Even though they lost in a game winner versus the Pacers, they are 6-1 and second in the East behind the Cavs, who are 7-0. They're poised to have another 60 or even 70 plus win season, and getting Porzingis back will help reach their milestone once again. Now, how does this team compare to the 2010s Warriors? Now, Golden State from 2011 to 2014, they steadily improved over the years, especially when Curry stayed healthy. Klay Thompson continues to improve, but not really the Klay that we all know of today. And they had David Lee. In 2013 and 2014, Golden State were a playoff team, but nothing more than that, even though they had the talent to be a championship contender. But people like Mark Jackson was holding back this team to the promised land. That until Steve Kerr comes in the picture and establishes this free-flowing motion offense that involves small ball, a lot of off-ball screens and spacing, Draymond Green and Klay Thompson's emergence, all due to Steve Kerr and also, of course, Steph Curry. Golden State in 2015 came out of nowhere and became the premier team in the NBA, and a team that will eventually revolutionize the game. As we know, Steph Curry won his first MVP, and Golden State will win the championship that year. But people don't know that Golden State had a pretty fluky playoff run. In the first round against New Orleans, Jrue Holiday dealt with injury mishaps, and he will barely play in that series. So it was basically Anthony Davis and a bunch of role players, and the Warriors swept them, obviously. The next round, they went up against the Grizzlies, a team with no real superstar on the team. The Warriors will win comfortably in 6 games. The Rockets in the conference finals, in which they don't have any business being in the first place, the Warriors will win in 5 games. And then in the finals, where LeBron didn't have Kyrie and K-Love, the Warriors won a championship despite LeBron taking this team to 6 games pretty much all by himself. People didn't take this championship win seriously because of this cupcake-like run to the championship. Therefore, people believed back then that it was a fluke. So in 2016, the Warriors came into the season with a chip on their shoulder and broke the season win record with 73 wins. Curry will have one of the greatest regular seasons ever for an individual player, being the first player ever to win the MVP unanimously. Now, we all know what happened with the finals that year, but the Warriors had a more impressive run to the finals that year compared to the year before. Coming back from a 3-1 deficit against OKC, the best team that the Warriors has played before the Cavs within that 2-year stretch. Fast forward to the Celtics now. Last year's championship run was similar to that of the 2015 Warriors. They had the best record in the NBA, and they themselves had a fluky playoff run. A Miami Heat squad in the first round without a Jimmy Butler, a Cavs roster with a Donovan Mitchell who got injured in Game 4 and was out for the remainder of the series. The Celtics will win in 5 games. A Pacers team in the conference finals with a Tyrese Haliburton who only played 2 games before missing the remainder of the series. The Celtics will sweep them. And in the finals, people really believe that the Mavericks will smack the Celtics, all because the Celtics play down to their competition and never get it done despite only losing 2 games throughout the playoffs, and done this with Kristaps Porzingis missing the majority of that time and just made it back in time for the finals. When the Celtics bring that guy on the court, I instantly knew that the Mavericks were done, and if Kristaps Porzingis played the whole series, it was going to be a sweep. There is a reason why this Boston Celtics team last year is one of the greatest teams of all time, and yes, better than the Celtics team 16 years ago. You can make the argument that this roster is better than the likes of the 86 Celtics. Not only the Celtics are comparable to the Warriors in 2015 as far as their regular season and playoff run goes, but they are comparable to the 2017 Warriors when they added a prime Kevin Durant to their roster. Now, during that time, we have never seen anything like this before, where a top 3 player like Kevin Durant during that time joins a team that not only beats him, but the Warriors that year was a 73-9 team, and also they added more depth on the roster with adding the likes of an Ian Clark, David West, and a JaVale McGee, while still retaining Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston. Everybody and their mamas knew that no one was touching the Warriors that year. This team literally bought themselves a ring, especially sweeping the entire Western Conference in the playoffs that year. And it took literally everything by Kyrie and LeBron to get 1 game against the Warriors in the finals. As for the Celtics, even when they get Porzingis and Holiday in the offseason, people still didn't take them seriously compared to the 2017 Warriors. Hell, people still think that even with this super team, the Miami Heat will always have their number. Compared to the Warriors, hadn't the Warriors not gotten KD, LeBron would have walked the floor against them in 2017 and beyond. LeBron, with a competent roster, without KD, the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead against him. And beyond that, the Warriors lost to the Lakers in the play-in in 21. And the very next year, when the Warriors won the whole thing, that the Lakers fucked up their roster because despite LeBron having one of his best years of his career, in the next year, when the man gets another competent roster around him, the Warriors will fall short against the Lakers in the second round. Now, going back to those Celtics, the Celtics this year are looking stronger than ever before, despite the loss against the Pacers. They have been firing all cylinders, most especially Jason Tatum. The man has been putting up MVP numbers. Sure, he had cooled down a tad bit, but he's trying to make a mark as a guy who is proving to everyone that he is a legit superstar in the NBA. With retaining the whole roster from last year, they are en route for a 2016 Warriors run in the regular season, especially them not having a championship hangover like most teams. The only thing that the Celtics need to prove to the league is, can they still go back-to-back, especially with a much tougher Eastern Conference with the New York Knicks? If they can get their act together somehow, the Philadelphia 76ers can put themselves in that conversation. Of course, the Miami Heat, Orlando Magic are putting themselves in that conversation, especially how they're playing right now. And also the Pacers. The Celtics can really have all the respect in the world if they can find a way and beat all these teams in the East and beat either OKC or Dallas, who both got much better. And also, if the Celtics do go back-to-back, then we got to start putting the Celtics as a new dynasty in the NBA, similar to the Warriors. Now, to end the video on a fun note, who will win in a 7-game series between the 2017 Warriors or the 24 Celtics? Now, the Celtics have the matchup to compete with the Warriors, obviously with the likes of a Jrue Holiday and Derek White, 2 of the best perimeter guards in the NBA, and both were top 10 in DPOY voting. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the best duo in the NBA now, and Kristaps Porzingis, arguably a top 3 center in the game. It's a 7-game series, but I think that this Warriors team in 2017 will beat them. Even though Derek White and Drew Holiday are elite defensive guys, they just don't clear a prime Curry and a Klay Thompson, the best backcourt in NBA history. Kevin Durant clearly takes Jaylen Brown. The only two players that clears the remainder of the two Warriors starters are Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis. And as for the bench unit, I gotta go with the Warriors. The Warriors have the star power and a deeper roster than the Celtics, having two of the three best players in the NBA, and Curry and Durant during that time, the best 3-and-D player in the league, and Klay Thompson, and a DPOY winner in Draymond Green, and a bench unit consisting of Aaron Clark, Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala, David West, and JaVale McGee, along with other guys like Patrick McCall, Kevon Looney, and Matt Barnes. This bench unit was good enough to be a starting lineup on a bad team. For example, the Charlotte Hornets back in 2017. I think that this Warriors team slightly clears the Celtics in this one and beats them in a 7-game series. Thank y'all for watching this vid. What do y'all think about this video? Can Boston go back-to-back? Let me know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more NBA content, and also smash the like button and turn on post notifications, and that is all. Stay litty. This is the A-Man Show. Sign out.